Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining the webinar. My name is Tom. I head the marketing at CMS IT Services. We have with us today Mr. Prosenjit Saha, who heads the automation practice at CMS IT. Mr. Saha has handled multiple automation projects for clients from various industries. And today he's going to talk about workplace automation. Before I hand over to Mr. Saha, couple of housekeeping rules. All the participants will be muted to avoid the background noise. And having said that, we encourage you to share your feedbacks and ask questions using the chat option. Once again, thank you for joining the session. Over to you, Mr. Saha.
Thank you, Tom, for the introduction, and thank you everyone for joining. Okay, let me have a look on the audience. So we can see we have CIOs, group CIOs, IT manager. So we have mix of audience, and I'll try to make this conversation relevant for everybody. So when we talk about automation, let me first clarify, we at CMS bifurcated automation into three categories. One is workplace automation, then data center automation, and business process automation. So our focus today is to talk on workplace automation. And our objective of this conversation, or the goal, is to achieve end user experience enhancement and definitely cost saving. When we talk about cost saving, we are not only talking about cost reduction or cost avoidance, we are also talking about long-term ROI. Okay, so let me just have a look on the traditional challenges in the traditional model. When any user has a problem or service request, their first point of contact is service desk. And if service desk cannot fulfill the request, it escalates to the remote support team. But the problem is, the more you shift towards right, the more impact is there on the user's productivity. And not only that, the more expensive the support becomes, along with all the complexities that comes with managing a larger team. And one of the most important things that we do not have today is visibility. So this is a big problem. We really have no visibility on how many users are unable to access specific service at a given point of time. Let me share an experience of mine. I was talking to one of the CIOs, and he said that he conducted a survey to know the satisfaction level of the users. And the outcome was 60%. So he eventually has gone back to his IT manager saying that, the satisfaction level is 60%. We have to increase it. Please do something. And the IT managers came back saying that we are already providing 99.99% uptime. So what else we can do? So you see, in one hand, we have 60% satisfaction. On the other hand, we are already providing 99% uptime. So there's a huge gap. And we are here to bridge that gap. Now you see, in the past few years, IT has grown exponentially and is changing every day, and so do the expectation of the end users. And you as an IT leader will not only have to ensure smooth running of your business, but also fulfill the changing needs or expectations of the user. Hence, you need a solution which is flexible enough to fulfill the changing needs of the user, scalable enough to accommodate additional workload without any additional cost, or maybe with little additional cost. I mean, you may have a lot of scalable solutions, but as you scale up or scale out, there will be a cost involved in it. But we are saying that you need to have a solution which is scalable enough to accommodate additional workload without any additional cost, or maybe little additional cost, which is very, very important. So what are we proposing today? We are proposing a proven solution in a transform model, where whenever the user will have a problem, his first point of contact will not be the service desk. His first point of contact will be the automation platform, which is powered by artificial intelligence, NLP, and machine learning. And this platform can actually derive the intent of the user, nestle the intent into a meaningful context, engage with the user with relevant questions, and can take the right action based on the context and need from a multitude of possibilities. So in a nutshell, this mimics cognitive capability, human cognitive capability of in reading, comprehending, interpreting, and conversing. And with this capability, this platform can take up to 85% of your service desk tasks, up to 50% of your remote support tasks. And whichever issues this platform cannot resolve in first go, this itself will align the right resolver group with all the forensics and details that are needed for the support engineer to solve the problem. So with this capability, this drastically reduces your MTTR. We have cases where we've reduced the MTTR by 50%. Okay, and not only that, when we talk about visibility, we are not only talking about the visibility from a technical perspective. First thing I have said that we are not looking at the health of the specific components in silos. We are looking at the health of the usage of all the components put together. Secondly, we are talking about the visibility of end user. When we talk about end user, we are talking about how the users are thinking of IT. What is their perspective or perception on IT is something we are talking about, because it is not only about the device, but also about the people who are sitting behind the desk. And definitely this will fulfill your last mile compliance, be it your corporate compliance, government compliance, device compliance, etc. So overall, 70 to 80% automation can be done based on the infrastructure. Now, what are the benefits that we are getting here? One of the most important benefit that we are getting here is increased productive hour of users, because we've seen that users are spending a lot of time in firefighting IT issues, which we don't really want to do, and we have a huge calculation for that. And just to give you an idea, if we can save maybe 1,000 hours per month of your users' productive hour, you may do the math. I mean, how much you can save, or how much you can get the return, right? And definitely this will give you a complete control, because when you will have a complete visibility or insights of your infrastructure, you will have complete control on it. Let me just tell you one thing. I mean, we've observed that whenever there is an issue or something, the business people will always tend to point finger on IT, saying that this did not happen because of IT issue or something like this. And often we've seen that the IT managers had to step back because we do not have data. But in this case, you will have complete data and complete visibility, and you will be able to prove, okay, because of this specific reason this has happened, this person is the accountable for this activity, something like this. Okay, and definitely this will fulfill your audit and compliance need. And last but not the least, this will give you a huge cost saving, not only from a cost reduction perspective, but also from a cost avoidance perspective. Okay, now let me just touch upon one or two points. Right? For example, software waste management. This is a huge issue for many organizations. We've seen that many organizations buy a lot of license, use it for maybe specific project or something, or assign those licenses to someone, and then probably forget to take back when it is done. So you see, we will be able to identify where exactly the gap is. For example, in this case, if you see in this case, Microsoft Visio, the number of license installed is 51. However, number of license purchased is 50. So this is a complete compliance failure. However, on the other hand, if you see the last column, 40 number of people who are not using the licenses. So in one hand, you are fulfilling your compliance with this visibility. On the other hand, you can reuse take back those licenses which are not being used, reuse it, or maybe during the renewal you can get rid of those licenses. So this is a huge cost saving. Not only that, when we talk about disk failure, you must have seen that there's a smart disk concept where we know that if the device is running more than 90% or 95% error, then the disk is about to fail in the next maybe few weeks. So we can have a complete visibility on how many devices, which all devices are these, and we can take a proactive or preventive action even before it fails, because it's not only about the cost of the repair of the device, but all or maybe replace of the device, but also about the data. And we know the how much does it cost when it comes to data recovery, right? And there are multiple use cases. I don't really want to get into all those things. Okay, we can do it. But you as an IT leader, what is it that you need? You need a single number to know where exactly your organization is standing from a maybe compliance perspective or maybe device performance perspective. Now this one number, if you see that okay, this is more than 9, then okay, everything's fine, or things can be normal. If it is less than 5, 6, something like this, you definitely would like to engage your team to actually act on it. And this is not only giving you a single number, but also will allow your team members to dig deep into it and identify what exactly went wrong, where is the problem, etc. Right? And these numbers, this single number that I am talking about, is coming from a average of multiple aggregated value. Okay. Yeah, and I think that's it. So now, how does the solution look like? I mean, the solution, when we talk about solution architecture, this is a comprehensive integrated automation framework where you definitely have to have a proactive management. Because if I may ask you, I mean, if you ask any of your team members, IT SMEs and all, that you faced this specific incident and how do you resolve that problem? So you will be amazed with the answer. He will give you the best answer. But if you the next question, if you ask, how can we prevent this? You will see that they're fumbling or something. Why? Because they are so much occupied into firefighting the reactive actions or activities, they do not have time to think on how to proactively prevent it or how to eliminate things. So with this module, you will be able to eliminate up to 20% or even more incidents from even getting generated. This should also have a human interactive platform, something like chat bot or a mobile bot, which will be available all the time, 24/7, irrespective of how many users are trying to access or chat, communicate with the desk together, right? And definitely a remediation module you have to have, which can be manually called or automatically called. And one of the most important thing, a component has to be there, which is field force automation, because not everything can be resolved remotely. So whenever something is wrong and cannot be resolved remotely, you will have your field force people who will also be equipped with the automation framework, and they will be able to reach out to the place of issue within a few hours, and they will also have all the details and information that are needed to troubleshoot the problem. Yeah, so I think I'm done. So if you have any question, you may please ask.
Thank you, Prosenjit. I think we have a few questions from the audience side. So the first question is, why transform model? What is the problem with existing model? Okay, so I think that's a good question. When you talk about transform model and I mean, what is the problem with existing model? Right. Now, you see, the existing model is too exhausted to improve. Why I say that? Because you've been managing this IT infrastructure for the last 5-10 years, and you have done everything that needs to be done to improve your infrastructure. Right. Now, there is very limited area where you can improve. However, you definitely see that there are a lot of things that lot of outcome has to be there. Okay, so
And for a better outcome, you definitely have to adopt new innovation and change the model of work, what you are doing. Okay.
Okay. Next question. You mentioned about user feedback. How will this be so effective? Are you talking about survey?
Okay. So I'm definitely not talking about survey because we know that if there are survey, maybe 50 to 60% people attend. So survey is definitely not a effective mechanism. So we have a better mechanism. We call it campaign, where we will introduce where we interact with user in a different manner. We don't really make them to log into a portal or click in a link where they have to go through a form, fill up, etc. We give some pop-up which will simply say how happy you are with your existing model, and maybe another question, how do you rate, etc. These are the way where user will give you the right feedback and user will not be irritated, and this can be continuously given. So probably during demonstration, we can definitely show that how it works. Okay, I think, yeah, any more question?
Yeah, we'll take one last question, and rest of the questions we can take it offline. Last question, how can we better the outcome of our existing support?
Okay, good. So let me tell you one thing. When we talk about better the existing support, I mean, as I have just said, your existing support model is completely exhausted. So, my view, I will share my view. You need to give this support to a skilled service provider. A skilled service provider must manage manage your IT. They must manage the complexity of your IT and bring innovation, so that you can concentrate on how to utilize the IT infrastructure and new innovations to achieve your business goals and become a business enabler instead of cost center. Because you don't really want to take the pain of managing it, or you don't really want to spend your valuable time to get into the complexity of the infrastructure. And secondly, if as a customer you would like to do it by yourself, to get the best outcome you have to spend a lot, and if you do not spend a lot, then probably you will not be able to take out the best support. So it is better to give the service support to a skilled service provider whose bread and butter is to manage infrastructure, because they will be managing multiple customers and they will be innovating because they have to survive in the fast-paced industry. Okay. I think if there is no further question, I think we are done, and maybe other questions we can take offline.
Thank you everyone for joining the session. If you have any further questions, feel free to
okay. Tom, I think we can take one more question if you have. Is there any further question? Because I could see a lot of questions. We can take one more question.
Yeah, there are a few more questions. And what does proactive management do?
Come again? I mean,
what does proactive management do?
Okay, so I spoke about proactive management module. Now, okay, so now this is another, I mean, very good question. I must say, we have seen that we are doing a lot of things reactively, but we are still not in a position where we can eliminate a lot of incidents proactively, right? So the proactive management module has a lot of characteristics. One of the main characteristics is to ensure prevent incidents. Then this will also give you a lot of analytics to understand the insights. This will also provide a lot of insights to take informed decisions. This will also give you a dashboard, high-level dashboard, so that you know where exactly your organization stands. This will give you a lot of continuous user interaction, silent resolution, masked resolution, right? So, and there are a lot of other things this platform can do. And if this really interests you, I would request you to get back to us so that we can actually show it, I mean, demonstrate this in how exactly it works in the field. We will show you the live data, I mean, wherever it is happening, to clarify things.
So, so in the interest of time, I think we will take up all the other questions offline. And thank you everyone for joining this session. Those who have joined late, we will be sharing the recorded version of this webinar so that you will not miss anything. And once again, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you everyone.